So, in honor of it being fight week for UFC 312, yes, it is officially fight week. I will be revisiting one of the most pointless, in my opinion, one of the most pointless fights in comparison to the other fights at this certain weight class that could have been put on instead for this card. Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis 2. I stand by my belief that Khamzat Chimaev should have been given a title shot in front of Sean Strickland and should be fighting Dricus instead for this card. But I guess the UFC made a promise to Sean Strickland that they have to keep, and Sean Strickland is getting another title shot. Sean Strickland has had a I would say mostly good career. His fighting style, as many of you guys know now, is pretty simple. It's effective but simple. Jab, cross, teep, Philly shell defense. Uh, he basically rinses and repeats for every fight. I think the only thing that he kind of added on was being able to more effectively check leg kicks, and he got that from his time with Alex Pereira. But besides that, Sean Strickland has always been a great grappler. And aside from that, it's just the jab cross, Philly shell, teep, fighting style. Same shit, one dimensional. That's about it. Dricus du Plessis, I would say he's always been a killer. Fighting wise, he's got a signature move, the Dricus Blitz, where he charges at his opponent like a raging buffalo or a bull, spamming overhands while his chin is ducked down to his chest. And if that fails, he'll go right to the grappling, which is very strong at. Very strong grappler. Can lift just about anybody off the fucking ground and pull him right to the ground. Then proceed to, attack your back, get the back, and maybe go for a submission. He's great with that. And then, above all, he's got this like championship spirit, where it's just nonstop. He's going at you nonstop. Whether he's hurt or tired, he's still in it. The motherfucker's got the heart of a champion. A lot of people say that his technique is not great. It's true. It isn't great. It doesn't really look. His fighting doesn't really look clean per se, but somehow the Dricus Blitz punches land. The takedowns land. He gets shit done. He gets shit done no matter what, and you gotta damn well respect it. He's fighting Sean Strickland for the second time. In their first fight, certain things did go well for Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland was able to land that jab basically all night. That's a signature part of his 1-2 Philly shell teep kick fighting style. But the jab landed. The jab landed effectively, and it landed all night. It was able to land so much that it rearranged Dricus's face, and gave Dricus a big old black or purple eye, to which Dricus had to, keep well after the fight, especially in his first championship, especially in his first pictures with the belt. You could see just how bad Sean Strickland beat up his face with that jab. Besides the jab, Dricus dominated everywhere else. Dricus was able to dominate the ground aspect of the fight, successfully bringing Sean Strickland to the ground a number of times, as well as being able to land like the last two punches of every blitz he tried to execute against Sean Strickland. The first few obviously were not able to land because of Sean Strickland's Philly shell and how effective that is, but the last two are almost always able to land, just because the punches are thrown with so much power and with such a volume that the first few are going to be defended well, but then after defending the first few, Sean's kind of pretty much overwhelmed by how much defense he had to utilize, and then he's kind of clipped with the last two. But they don't kind of hit Sean dead on, because Sean is still rolling. He's still rolling with the punches from Dricus's blitz, but those punches still land. They just don't land as hard, but still they land. And then the more Dricus goes to that blitz, the more punches are scored on the scorecards. And that last fight went to a decision, and I'm sure this next fight will go to a decision. So since this fight is going to a decision, the points matter. Whether they're scored by takedowns, punches, control time, anything that can garner you points, and more specifically more points at a faster rate, is what you should be going to if it's a fight that is most likely going to a decision. And this fight most likely is. Sean Strickland's fighting style at times can be so effective that it can land in a knockout or dropping an opponent, but not most of the time, not really. Because again, it's the 1-2 teep, it's the same shit, rinse and repeat. But still, it's effective enough to keep a fighter either on the back foot or just keep a fighter at bay. Really, we saw that when Sean Strickland fought Paulo Costa, and how Paulo Costa had to spend the whole fight on the back foot. But still, yeah, this fight, given how Sean Strickland fights, given how Dricus fights, Dricus uses the blitz, and the blitz is effective. But again, Dricus isn't able to land extremely hard on Sean Strickland to the point where he's able to drop Sean. But anything could happen. It's the fight game. Maybe Sean tries to tweak something. Maybe Dricus tries to tweak something. I don't know. But I'm giving you the facts as it pertains to the previous fights of these two fighters, and going off of those fights, how this fight is likely going to pan out. There's also the factor of Sean Strickland bringing Alex Pereira with him. Alex Pereira is apparently going to corner Sean for this fight. I don't think it really changes anything, because Pereira would have to fucking get what he says translated by his coach Plinio Cruz, and then Plinio Cruz has to translate to Sean. It's a whole translation clusterfuck. So Sean is not able to get what Alex is trying to say to him like mid-fight. And even if Alex was able to speak fluent English to Sean during the fight, I don't think it changes much because Sean is so one-dimensional. Sean has the classic mandatory Sean things, which is, like I said, jab, cross, Philly shell, teep, rinse and repeat. So there's not much you can kind of do to tweak that, and then the grappling is there. I don't think Sean will go for takedowns, but Sean knows how to get back up if he is taken down. So that's good enough for Sean, I guess. But yeah, I find this fight pointless because of how the first fight went, and I don't see what, more specifically Sean can change to change the outcome of that first fight. I think the only way the outcome of the first fight changes is if, I guess, Sean lands like another couple jabs that somehow overturn the judge's decision and and make the judges choose Sean to win. I don't know, but I don't think Sean will change shit. And Dricus might change something, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to change the fight drastically because the jab cross teep Philly shell shit is pretty much effective, and so effective that only a few people can really get past that Philly shell to truly land something as powerful or powerful enough to put Sean out. But yeah, again, I find a fight between Dricus and Khamzat Chimaev much more entertaining, and I think Khamzat has more of a right to fight Dricus than Sean. The decision was close, I guess, but in the first fight between Sean and Dricus, but still, I don't see enough evidence that proves that the fight, was in such of a balance that anything could happen in the next one. I don't see that. I think it's the same, it's the same fighting styles without any change, and the clash of these two fighting styles is going to result in damn near the same outcome as the first fight. So I don't see a change. I don't. It's hard for me to see a change from the first to the second, and that's why I believe that Khamzat should fight instead, given how effective Khamzat was against his opponent in his last fight, Robert Whittaker, and how he broke Robert Whittaker's jaw in 3 with a not fully in rear naked choke. So just based off of that alone, you can already tell a fight between Khamzat and Dricus is going to be a blockbuster. These two are really fun, high energy fighters, and the fight would just, there's so many variables that it's going to put so many asses in seats. With this fight between Dricus and Sean Strickland, there's not as many variables. That's what I'm trying to say. There's not as many, sporadic, random ass shit that could happen, given how Sean Strickland defends and how he strikes. Dricus can make a fight fun because the awkward punching, the blitz, the sporadic takedowns, like that can kind of make certain points in a fight interesting. But again, given how Sean fights, Philly shell and then added with the teep, there's not much. There's not a lot of exciting stuff that's gonna happen because what's gonna happen if you're landing the teep all night, or if you're landing the jab all night, or if you're utilizing the Philly shell defense all night. So yeah. Either way, it's still a fight. You got to be grateful for a UFC card, no matter what type of card it is. You just got to love the UFC and show up. So yeah, and there's other entertaining fights on this card as well that I'll go over throughout this week. But I want to start it off with the main event, of course, of this card coming up this weekend. I'm excited. It's fight week. Get excited. It's fun stuff. And overall, you let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But most importantly, subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next.